I do not use Wealthsimple for US investments. Don't get me wrong, Wealthsimple is a fantastic platform for Canadian investing, but on the US side, it would cost me thousands of dollars over the years. I'll show you. Hey guys, it's Adrian here, the Canadian in a t-shirt, and today I'll compare Wealthsimple and Questrade, two of the most popular brokerages in Canada, and I'll break down the huge difference in fees when it comes to investing in US dollars. Right off the bat, I love Wealthsimple. I've been with them pretty much since the beginning, before they even launched Wealthsimple Trade. And they're literally my second favorite investing platform in Canada, especially for beginners. They truly make investing simple. But I only recommend them for Canadian investments. For US investing, they'll cost you a ton of money in the long run, far beyond whatever you'd save on commission fees. And that's where Questrade really shines. In this video, I'll break down all the math, I'll show you a real-time example of buying the same stock on both platforms, and at the end, I'll go over my US portfolio and compare how much I've paid in total fees. Just wait until you see the numbers. And no, this video is not sponsored. It wouldn't make sense to get paid for a head-to-head comparison. But I will be reviewing more brokerages in the future, and I'll make a whole series on Wealthsimple versus Questrade. There's a ton to talk about, comparing their features, their strengths and weaknesses. It's a pretty even match. But today, I'm just focusing on US investing. This to me is Wealthsimple's biggest downside. To buy US stocks, you need US dollars. And that means currency conversion fees. Both Questrade and Wealthsimple charge you 1.5% to convert your Canadian dollars into US dollars, and vice versa. This may not sound like much, but it's huge. And here's the key. With Wealthsimple, there's no way to avoid it. You have to pay this 1.5% fee whenever you convert currencies. Whereas with Questrade, you can use a technique called NORBERT'S Gambit. This allows you to convert between Canadian and US dollars without paying any conversion fees. This is huge. It saved me thousands over the years. I'll show you in action how it works, but first, let's do the math. If I buy $1,000 of Apple stock with Wealthsimple, I don't pay commission fees. That's great. But I pay that 1.5% conversion fee up front. That's $15. And eventually, I'll have to sell and convert back into Canadian dollars. Another 1.5% fee. With Questrade and NORBERT'S Gambit, I don't pay a percentage fee when I convert currencies. I essentially pay a fixed fee around $5. That makes conversion much cheaper, especially for large sums of money. So converting $1,000 into USD, Wealthsimple charges $15. Questrade only charges $5.45. How about $10,000? Wealthsimple charges the same 1.5%, so 10 times the money, 10 times the fee. It will cost me $150. Questrade only charges me $12.32. Let's take it further. What if I get a big inheritance, or I transfer my pension from work, and I have $100,000 to exchange? Wealthsimple would cost me $1,500. Questrade? Only $60.74. That's a difference over $1,400. And remember, that's just one way. Eventually, you'll have to convert back into Canadian dollars and you pay that fee all over again. That's massive. Side note, for Questrade, this $5 fixed fee technically isn't fixed. You'll pay a minimum of $5, that's the fixed part, plus you'll pay a tiny amount of ECN fees, 0.35 cents per share. The majority of the time, these ECN fees are pennies. 10 to 20 cents. You won't even notice them. But for large amounts, 10 grand, 100 grand, they start to add up. That's how we got $60 in our 100K example. For regular people, if you're converting between $1,000 and $4,000, you'll only pay $5 to $7 with NORBERT'S Gambit. I'll make a whole video on ECN fees, breaking down the full calculation. I don't want to overcomplicate it here. By the way, I'll include referral links down below to get you a nice sign-up bonus with both Questrade and Wealthsimple. In this comparison, I was only looking at the conversion fees, changing Canadian dollars into USD. We also have to consider commission fees. That's when you buy a stock. The best thing about Wealthsimple is that they don't charge any commission fees. So with Wealthsimple, to buy $1,000 worth of Apple stock, you pay the conversion fee, $15, and that's it. No commissions. With Questrade, you don't pay any commission fees when buying ETFs, but for stocks, you'll pay about $5 for most trades. So with Questrade, if we were buying $1,000 of an ETF like VOO, we'd pay $5 for NORBERT'S Gambit to convert into USD, and that's it. No commission to buy an ETF. But to buy a stock like Apple, we have to pay an extra $5. So a total fee of $10. I'll show this live example in just a minute. Here's the bottom line. For converting between Canadian dollars and US dollars, Questrade will beat Wealthsimple for any amount above $340. That's because of that $5 fixed fee with NORBERT'S Gambit. The higher the amount, the more you save. If you were just buying ETFs, there's no commissions. So above $340, you would save money with Questrade. If you're buying stocks, you gotta add an extra $5 commission. So for stocks, Questrade wins above $680. For $680, both platforms would cost you $10. Personally, I only do NORBERT'S Gambit with $1,000 or more. That's because NORBERT'S Gambit takes 3 days to complete. For smaller amounts, I'd rather just pay that 1.5% fee and convert instantly. We have to talk about Wealthsimple Premium, also known as their USD account. This is a common misconception, and it's very frustrating. Wealthsimple Premium does not avoid conversion fees. I wish it did. A lot of their advertisements imply that, but it's not true. If this was true, I would sign up immediately. $10 a month to avoid all commissions and conversion fees? That's the best deal ever. But you have to read the fine print. If you pay $10 a month, or if you have $100,000 within Wealthsimple, you'll be upgraded to the USD account. All this does is allow you to hold US dollars. That's it. Questrade lets you do that for free. You still need to pay that 1.5% conversion fee every time you exchange Canadian and US dollars. There's no way to avoid it with Wealthsimple. And remember, for larger sums of money, that will cost you thousands of dollars. Now, is it worth $10 a month? If you're buying and selling US stocks often, yeah, it's better than the free version. In the free version, your US stocks are automatically converted back into Canadian dollars every time you sell. So let's say you buy Amazon stock and then you sell it. Then you buy Apple, sell it again, then you buy Tesla, and finally sell it for cash. In the free version, you'd be charged that 1.5% fee every step along the way. That's a total of 9% in fees. That's a disaster. That's an entire year's worth of the S&P 500 down the drain. Do not do this. If you paid $10 a month for the USD account, now you only pay this conversion fee twice. At the first step, where you convert into USD, and the last step, where you sell and convert back into Canadian. That's a total of 3%. Much better, but again, still too much compared to Questrade. And no, even with Premium, Wealthsimple does not support NORBERT'S Gambit, and I doubt they ever will. Conversion fees are literally how they make money. Keep that in mind. Before I get to the walkthrough, let's see other ways to avoid conversion fees. The best way is if you already have US dollars. Now you don't need to worry about conversion fees. You can deposit those US dollars directly into Questrade or Wealthsimple if you have the premium account. That's the best case, but not likely. We're Canadian and most of us earn Canadian dollars. You can also buy Canadian dollar ETFs that contain US stocks, something like VFE or ZSP. Great options, but you'll face a 15% withholding tax on those dividends, and you can't avoid it. I have a video breaking this down in detail. You can also buy CDRs of a few popular US stocks. This will be in Canadian dollars, so no conversion fees, but you will pay an annual fee around 0.6%. Finally, you can convert your cash into USD at a bank, but they will always charge conversion fees, often even worse than 1.5%. And a lot of them will try to hide this fee within the exchange rate. For example, if the real exchange rate is 1.36 Canadian, the bank will give you a worse rate of say 1.4, and they keep the difference. Bottom line, in all these cases, there's always a cost when investing in the US with Canadian dollars. For me, the best value is using NORBERT'S Gambit with Questrade. I've shown you the math, now let's see it in practice. I'm gonna buy $1,000 worth of a US stock on both platforms. We'll start with Questrade. I already have a step-by-step tutorial of NORBERT'S Gambit where I go in depth. Check it out here. For now, I'll go through the steps very quickly just to show the comparison. You can see here I have $1,000 cash. Now let's convert this into USD without paying any conversion fees. To do that, I look up a special ETF called DLR.TO. This is an ETF that just tracks the US to Canadian exchange rate. I'm buying this ETF in Canadian dollars, then I transfer it to the US dollar version. That's how I avoid those fees. This technique works both ways, but when I'm going from Canadian into USD, I'm locking in that exchange rate right away. So I click buy and sell, I bring up my calculator, I'm going to convert my available cash, $1,008, divide by the current share price, 13.77, I can afford to buy 73 shares. Let's send the order through. You can see I pay no commission fees when I buy an ETF with Questrade, but I pay 26 cents in ECN fees. And boom, order was filled. I bought 73 shares of DLR. And here's the magic. Now we convert these shares into DLR.U. This is in US dollars. This US ETF is designed to be flat. That's why you don't have to worry about the exchange rate changing while you're waiting for the transfer. Today is Monday. Let's start the transfer. I'm going to convert these 73 shares into DLR.U. Back to the homepage, click the bottom right to contact support, and you just tell them I bought 73 shares of DLR.TO. I would like to journal them over to DLR.U.TO. Now we just wait 2 to 3 days for the transfer to complete. Now it's Thursday, 3 days have gone by. If I click on reports and account activity, you can see here all my transactions. Right here you can see that the journal request has been completed. Go back to my positions and now you can see I have 73 shares of DLR.U.TO and it's worth 746 US dollars. No conversion fees, no 1.5% taken off, just a clean exchange. Last step is to sell this for cash in US dollars. I'm going to sell all 73 shares, hit the red sell button. This is where we get the $5 fee for NORBERT'S Gambit. Selling an ETF on Questrade costs $5. Buying ETFs is free, selling them $5. And now I have cash in USD. So that's NORBERT'S Gambit, converting my Canadian dollars into US dollars. Now I have USD, so I can buy a US stock, Procter & Gamble. With my USD cash, I'll buy 4 shares. I'm buying a stock, so I pay $5 in commission fees. And I'm done. Order was filled. Go to my orders to see my total cost. First step, bought DLR in Canadian dollars. No commission fees, just ECN fees, 25 cents. Next step, I converted them into DLR.U. That part's free. Now I sold this for US cash, and that cost me $5.20. So converting $1,000 cost me $5.46. Now actually buying the US stock, Procter & Gamble, that cost me $5. So buying $1,000 of a US stock had a total cost of $10.41 with Questrade. And the more I bought, the more I would have saved. Let's do the exact same thing with Wealthsimple. I'll spend $1,000 and buy 4 shares of Procter & Gamble. Ticker symbol PG. Today is Monday and I'm going to be buying the stock immediately. I don't have to wait 2 or 3 days like NORBERT'S Gambit. We'll see at the end if waiting 3 days would have saved me money or cost me money. So hit buy, and just as before, with $1,000, I can afford to buy 4 shares. Hit this question icon to see the conversion fees. For 4 shares, I have to convert $936, so I pay 1.5% of that. That's $14.04. If I was buying $1,000 exactly, it would be $15 exactly. Submit an order. There you go. I bought 4 shares of Procter & Gamble. With Questrade, it cost me $10. With Wealthsimple, it cost me $14. But I was able to do it instantly. Let's see if that paid off. Now, 3 days later, while waiting for NORBERT'S Gambit to complete, you can see that the share price of Procter & Gamble actually dropped by 0.17%. So in this case, waiting 3 days actually helped me. I was able to buy at a little bit of a discount. This goes to show that you don't need to buy the stock instantly. I'd rather wait 2 or 3 days and save money on conversion fees. So that's a small example, one single trade. Let's see how it adds up over the years looking at my numbers. Almost half of my portfolio is in the US. In total, I've invested $72,000 USD. That's how much of my money I've put in. Most of it I converted with NORBERT'S Gambit, 66K, and the rest, 5.5K, I converted directly. Over the years, exchange rates fluctuate, but I've done the math and converted into Canadian. I put in 83K with NORBERT'S Gambit and 7.3K directly, for a total of 90K Canadian. For the direct exchange, I paid the standard 1.5% fee, so it cost $110. You can see here, dozens and dozens of NORBERT'S Gambit transactions over the years. Each time it cost me about $5. Adding it all up, I've paid $196 with NORBERT'S Gambit. So my total cost to convert into USD has been $306 for 90,000 Canadian. I could have reduced this number further if I did the whole thing with NORBERT'S Gambit and with bigger chunks of money, but these are my numbers. If I had used Wealthsimple for my US investing, it would have cost me 1.5% on the whole thing. It doesn't matter if I did it all in one step or a little bit every week. The total would be the same, $1,350. So on the way up, building my US portfolio, I saved $1,044 by using Questrade instead of Wealthsimple. It's even worse on the way down. my US investments have done very well. Combining my US holdings in my RSP and margin account, my portfolio has grown to 116K in USD. That's worth $157,000 today in Canadian dollars. If I were to cash out, I'd have to pay the conversion fee again with Wealthsimple. That would cost me another $2,355. With Questrade, I could use NORBERT'S Gambit all at once, and it would only cost me $89. That's a difference of $2,266. So in total, my US portfolio would cost an extra $3,300 if I used Wealthsimple. That's huge. For me, that's months and months of saving. And these are my numbers as of today. This difference in cost will continue to grow as my portfolio grows. This is the cost for the currency conversion. That doesn't depend on what you invest in, just the dollar amount. But I also have to factor in commission fees. That does depend on stocks versus ETFs and number of shares. In my case, selling everything would cost about $5 each, so a total around $150 with Questrade. Still way better than $3,000. As we saw in my example, for a $1,000 trade, there's not a huge difference. But over the years, as your portfolio grows, the numbers are staggering. If you're new to investing and you don't have a ton of money, I get it. You want a dollar cost average every week, but you don't want to pay a $5 commission fee every time. So Wealthsimple seems like a no-brainer. That's fine, but just be mindful of the long-term costs. You're still paying that fee every step along the way. And as your portfolio grows, eventually you're gonna have to sell, and you'll be slapped with a massive fee. Just keep that in mind. You don't have to choose one or the other. Feel free to use both. A lot of investors use Questrade for US and Wealthsimple for Canadian. They're both fantastic. Just be aware of the costs. And if you want to sign up, make sure you use my referral link below to get a $50 sign up bonus with Questrade and $25 with Wealthsimple. Stay tuned for part 2 and check out this playlist for more step-by-step tutorials. So thanks everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of The Canadian in a T-shirt. Bye guys.